All right, numbers are in from May, and as we have been talking about all year, the market is definitely shifting. How do you stay out ahead of it? This is Steve from Loan Realty Group EXP. All right, so in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on stats. Okay, so we're going to go into our system where we can show the screen, show you some of the stats that we get from the FMLS, show you what has happened over the last couple of months that has shown that A, the market has definitely slowed down. Okay, the number of buyers is less, the number of sellers is more, so the market has slowed. Is it panic time yet? No, we're not going to panic because the market is still extremely strong. We've just come over the top of the tallest mountain you could possibly think of in the world of real estate, and we're on the backside of that mountain, still way above anywhere that we've seen, okay, and it's still way above where we were back in 08, 09. So all the pundits who are thinking this is the crash, it's all set up, it's not. We're going to take a look at the numbers right now. So just ahead of time, I'm going to warn you, we're going to do a deep dive on stats. If you don't want to do a deep dive on stats, I do give you a little breakdown real quick of kind of the overview, and then you can just check with me later. But if you really want to take a look at the numbers, that way you can like amaze your friends at parties, these numbers, I wouldn't do that. You want to amaze your friends. You may not get invited back to those parties. Anyway, no. But if you want to see the stats and kind of see the background for, all right, why do I feel this way? Here's the numbers, here's the stats, here's the market, here's the history, here's the whatever. This is why I feel this way. You won't see anybody else who gives you a 30-second to 1-minute update on Instagram, and say, this is what I feel, blah, blah, blah. I break my argument down. That's my argument. I'm sticking with it. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and I'll let you know. Okay, I was wrong. I was right in the fact that we're going to have the slowdown. A lot of people saw it, so I'm not like Nostradamus or anything. A lot of people saw it coming. I was wrong in the fact that I thought it was going to come a couple months later. Really shocked that it happened as soon as it did, because it's happening now as we're heading into the peak of the buying season. Buyers are walking away. Kind of weird. Makes me wonder what fall is going to look like. Going to be interesting. Anyway, deep dive on the stats. Here we go. All right, so let's take a deep dive into the numbers. Okay, I'm going to move my face over here for just a second. Start at the sales price. So what we're going to look at right here, and again, my apologies, we're going to kind of do a deep dive. I like stats. That's kind of my personality. I get dorky on this kind of stuff. So if you don't want to get dorky on this kind of stuff, I'll just give you the overview. The overview is that prices are still going up. There's still multiple offer situations. The market is still a very hot seller's market. That being said, it is not the crazy market we saw a couple months ago, where there were like 5 billion offers in every house. Everything was going 150,000 over asking price. It's not that market anymore. That's going to lead to people thinking the market's going to crash. It's not going to crash, but it is slowing down. It's a discernible slowdown. Like I think about a month or so ago when we started talking about it, you had to kind of read between the tea leaves and kind of feel the wind blowing and kind of know that it was changing. But the stats say it's changing. So there you go. If you don't want to see any more stats or any more dorkiness, you can stop right now. But let's dive into the stats because I like stats. All right. So this is a system that we have through our FMLS where we'll take a look at all the parameters from the greater Atlanta FMLS. So this is not the FMLS from the outskirts. This is the greater Atlanta area. Okay. So I'm going to move me over here. Yeah. Let's do this. So on this chart that you see, okay, we start out with the average sales price. And you see there's a steady progression in sales price, steady progression in sales price, and goes all the way up. This last month in Atlanta, the greater Atlanta area, so the whole FMLS, 520, that's the average sales price, okay? That's up 18.3% from this time last year, what the average sales price was. That's pretty consistent. We have been seeing that for a while, that 18 to 20% range. Probably now going on a year to year and a half of seeing that sustained 18% year over year. So home prices are continuing to go up. Nothing alarming on that, nothing new on that. The number of new listings, this is the interesting one that we're watching. Now, over the last couple of months, we've seen new listings that have been added in the 8,000 range. Still probably a little less than where we want it to be. We want to add more listings. But look where we were just a couple months ago. When we were in December, in January, we were sucking wind. We weren't adding hardly anything, which is not unusual because of seasonality. As you see, we had a low valley back here in December 2020, low valley back here, December 2019. Not a whole lot of people put their houses on the market in December. It's just not a fun time to sell your house, okay? That being said, I would have liked to have had more houses because people are starting to finally think about selling their houses, and there's still plenty of buyers out there. That being said, we are adding more houses. We're getting more stuff back, so that's good news. But at the end of the day, the $1,000,000 question is how many homes are on the market because they're selling very fast. How many homes are on the market right now? So homes for sale. This is the number of homes for sale at the end of the month. So this is May 2022, at the end of May. Like you take a snapshot, bam, how many houses are on the market? 8138. You look back the last 3 years, I mean, obviously you go back to 2019, we had 19,000 and change on the market. Now we're at 8. So it's low. But we look at where we were, we were pretty low January and February, and then it started coming back up. I mean, this is the bottom, like historically, of anything that we've seen that we track. This is like the bottom, like the record low inventory we're all talking about. That's it right there. It has come up off the deck. Is it substantial? No, not as substantial as we want it to be. Has it come up off the deck? Yes, it has. So that's good news. We're adding more houses. This is an interesting one, pending sales. Okay, pending sales. Now this may change. We may add a few more as some late minute data comes in. But these are sales that are under contract, going to closing, 6190 in May. You go back to May of last year, we were at 7719. We were holding in the 7,000 plus range, right? But then we had a big drop back in December, came back up, and usually we keep coming back up as we head into the summertime. But they're already starting to see in the last 2 months, we're going back down, which is weird. We're going back down. So we're adding more houses. We're not selling quite as many for that reason. That's allowing the number of homes on the market to go up, okay? But this is very interesting that it's going down heading into the peak of the buying season. So like last year, the peak was in that May time range. Back here, the peak was May and then June, July. That's kind of where the peak was during the summertime in 2020. You go back to May 19, that's where we had the peak of 19. And then it started to slow down as we head into summertime. So it's weird that we're slowing down a little earlier. It has a lot to do with the rates going up, buyer fatigue, the prices being crazy. Buyers are just done. Some buyers are just pulling completely out, and they're just going to regroup and figure it out down the road. Okay, now let's take a look at days on market. Days on market continue to go down, which is kind of interesting. So 15 days on average in the greater Atlanta area, that's lower than it's been. So all these stats show, I mean, the days on market are a lot, slower or a lot less. Same thing with cumulative days on market. That takes into account homes that didn't sell the first time. So that's 17. That again, that's lower than it's been. So that time period is still pretty slow. I don't know if that has to do with the fact that people are they're getting better loans and closing faster. People are just jumping fast. Whatever it is, that stays pretty low. So that is not indicative of panic. Okay, a lot of people are panicking about where we are in the market right now. It's not panic. This is a healthy market. The fact that homes are moving. Okay, this is an interesting one. Months supply. We talk about this one a lot. If you've never heard us talk about it, month supply is. This is how much if you stopped adding houses to the market and you sold everything that's on the market at the pace that you're selling right now, how long would it last? How long would it take to sell everything? The last couple months, or end of December and the beginning part of January, or beginning part of 2022, I should say, we were holding a 1.0. Right, that's a crazy low number. Okay, we had a couple 1.0s last year. We had a good sustained run of 1.0 for about 4 months. There was nothing on the market. Went to 1.1 last month, 1.3 this month. A little bit better. Okay, but you look over the last 3 years, we had a 2.8 back in April of 2020. That was right after pandemic city rolled around. We were in the threes the month before that. But I'm going to open this up, because we can open this up and look a long time. This is going back all the way to 2012, so the last 10 years. Again, let's dork out and look at the stats. I'm at 1.3. Look at where we were pandemic hits right here, right? March, April, and then you see the drop. Let's go all the way back to, we had some twos, some threes. We were around 4 in July of 15, 4.4 in August of 14, and then we were way up near 6 coming in January 2012. Historically, in the world of real estate, 6 months is a balanced market. I'd say anything between, let's say, 4 and 8 is kind of a balanced market. 4 is still technically a seller's market, but I mean, buyers can still get a pretty good deal. So, I mean, 4 is not a bad number. We were hovering around that 4 range for a while. And then 2016, 2017, we just steadily were dropping, and then we get all the way down here. Okay. What does that mean? Why has that happened? I think the initial is during the recession, and we talk about this all the time too, during the recession, we just didn't build enough houses to keep up with demand. And for that reason, there's not as many houses out there. Every time we get to a point where they start building houses, stuff happens, like the pandemic happens. And the pandemic lets up, and then it's the bottleneck of all the building materials. It's the windows and the lumber and the refrigerators, and there's nothing out there that you need right now. There's like that one thing that's stopping everything from being built. So for that reason, they just can't get up off the deck and really build enough houses to keep up with demand. So what we're seeing right now is you have not as much new construction. You have a lot of people coming in, a lot of those big national investors buying rental properties. There's a lot of forces coming in that are coming in and taking houses and not allowing a lot of houses to be built. For that reason, there's not as much real estate. So for that reason, there's not as much real estate available for buyers. So these numbers are going to go down, and steadily go down. And then you see what happened April 2020, pandemic rolls around, and whammo, it goes all the way down through the floor. Where we hope to get at some point is for this 1.3 to come up into that 3 to 4 range. It's going to take some time. Now, all right, we're going to come back to this. We're going to come back to this because I want to wrap up talking about this, okay? Percentage of list price, let's bring this back down to 3 years. Percentage of list price, 103.5%. People are still getting mad amounts of money for their house. Percentage of original price, 103.2%. That takes, again, into account homes that came off the market. Price per square foot keeps going up. On average, $217, which is crazy. Dollar volume of what was sold, down a little bit and staying flat last couple of months, which is surprising. So around $3 billion worth of volume. Shows to pending. This is the most of all the interesting stats that we've seen in this data set. Because I like to look at this right at the beginning of the month because it gives us a snapshot. We kind of can guess where we were. This is the snapshot to show this is where we were. All right. So on average, shows to pending. What does that mean? It means exactly what it sounds like. This is number of showings on average a house gets before going to pending. Okay. This last month it was 21.2. Okay. We were way up at 29.3 in February, 28.7 in March, and down to 21.2. That's about where we were in August of last year when we had everything kind of flatten. And you have to go back to like August of 2020 when everything started ramping back up coming out of COVID. But before COVID, we were running somewhere in the neighborhood of 13-ish, 14-ish shows per listing. That's what we typically see in a seller's market. That might be where this number is going to finally go to, which is not a bad thing. That's a good thing. We want a normal market. Keeping a market where the prices go up 19% every year is not good for the market long term. We kind of want it to kind of flatten out and get back to normal. This is one of those numbers that we're going to watch. Okay, this is a number that is indicating that we have a little bit of a slowdown. There's not as many shows per listing. Now, that could have a lot to do with the fact that, and here, actually, this is shows to pending. Shows per listing, that too is down. It's 11.7. At its peak, it was 17. But you can see, I mean, if we look at the last 10 years, you see it was like in the 2 to 3 to 4 range, ramping up as we see less homes and less homes. And last couple of years has just been bananas. But we're getting that peak and going back into the valley. Not unusual. The weird thing about this is because we were thinking that this was going to happen, but like the weird thing about it is it's happening now. It's May. Kids are out of school. People need to make a move during the summertime to find that house before school starts. This is typically, like that April through mid-July chunk. We ramp up to April through mid-July, and then we have a break, like mid-July through mid-September. It goes pretty quiet in real estate. Stuff does sell, but it goes a little quiet. So I say all that to say this drop in the number of shows per listing is weird that it's happening as early as it is. Again, that is because the rates have gone up, buyer fatigue, prices are high, all those things. I mean, there's uncertainty in the world, the economy's crazy. Every time we turn on the news, it's crazy, right? I mean, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. If you turn on the news, it's crazy, okay? But that being said, what does all this mean? I want to show you this one more time. This is the most important thing. So next time somebody tells you the market is getting ready to crash, okay, I'm not going to buy anything till the market crashes and it's right around the corner. When we turn to a buyer's market is when we get above 6, probably closer to 7 or 8 before you get to a really strong seller's market. Back in 06, 07, before everything completely fell apart, it was around 10 to 11 months of inventory. Okay, this is month supply of inventory. It has been below 6 at least the last 10 years. So it's been technically in the buyer's or seller's market. It's been below 4 since this point right here, 2015. So for at least the last 7 years, it's been a seller's market. Okay, and it is way down at the bottom. You see that 1.3. It's where we are right now. If you want to have a full scale collapse of the real estate market, what do you need? You need a lot of houses, first of all. You need a lot of houses on the market, supply and demand. If the supply goes way up, okay, then that's going to drive the prices down. It's not there. I mean, the supply is way below. Supply is a tenth of what it was from a month of supply standpoint. It's a tenth of what it was before we went into the big recession in 08. It's not there. All right, so supply is not there. Demand, okay, yes, when you look at the shows per listing, we're going down a little bit. But look at where we were just a couple years ago. Let's say like 2018. This was kind of a balanced market, 2018, 2019, as far as not balanced, but it was a seller's market that wasn't nuts, but it was still a seller's market. You're getting like 4 or 5 shows per listing. All right, so there you go. We're way up here at 11.7. That's not indicative of the fact that demand is down. What was the other one that we saw? Percentage of original price. 103.2%. It's got to pull up the numbers. There you go. It's way up here. Back here, when I was telling you, back here, what was it, 2017, 2018, they were running like 96, 97, 98. We're at 103.2. That's not indicative of the fact that demand's going down. Buyers are putting in major offers on these houses, right? Look back here. This one actually goes all the way back to 2009. Look at this. February of 2009. So this is right in the middle of the craziness. That's the lowest mark on the board. Is at 86%. Could you imagine that? In this market, you put something up 500, you assume you're going to get 550. Back then, you're getting 86%. So that's what I'm talking about. All right. Let's see. The other one was months of supply. All right. So we talked about months of supply. There's no inventory there. Days on market, it's 15. It's way down here. That's not indicative of the fact that the demand has gone down. The demand is there. Is it as strong as it was? No. So the demand has come down a little bit. Supply has gone up a little bit. But keep in mind, compared to the grand scope of the entire market and what we've done in the last 10 years, I mean, it's very small. It's a shift. It's a discernible shift. You can see it. This is the number right here where you can see it shows per listing. You're seeing there is less demand. But it doesn't mean that the demand on the whole is way down. No. I mean, there's still demand, but it is down from when it was super duper ridiculous, wonky, crazy, however you want to call it. I call it, bananas, nuts, crazy market. So there you go. That's kind of looking deep inside the numbers. All right, so I hope that kind of cleared up things on where we are in the market, where we're going in the market, what's going to happen next, things like that. So what is going to happen next? It's a great question. We're going to have to watch the rates, watch what the Fed does with the rates, watch the rates. We're going to watch the elections, watch what the sentiment that Americans have towards the economy is, like all those things. Those are all things we watch to see, what does that mean? Because that's going to drive buyer sentiment, okay? So number one, the buyers are pulling back. They're slowing down. They see the prices are way too high or they're going up too fast, and they're kind of tired of it, and they're pulling back, especially with the rates being as high as they are. Okay, so the buyers are slowing down. A lot of sellers, though, are in that position where they haven't gotten that message yet. Okay, they saw their neighbor a couple doors down sell their house and get $100,000 over asking price. Now it's my turn. That is not going to happen. You're not getting $100,000 over asking price right now. Can you get $20,000 over, $30,000 over, maybe more in certain situations? That's a possibility depending on where you live, depending on how it's priced, depending on what the house looks like, things like that. Are you just going to put a sign in the yard and sell your house piece of cake? It's not that market anymore. And it dropped like that end of April, beginning part of May. It went real quick where it changed. Okay, now, what does that mean for the fall? We're just going to have to watch it and let you know. But again, the buyers are slowing down. The sellers need to realize the market has changed, but it's still a seller's market. Okay, so we'll be watching it. We have updates throughout the month, and if you have questions throughout the month, we're watching it every day. You call me, 470-233-4409. This is Steve, or you can email me below. Hit me up there, answer all our questions there as well. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, all that stuff. Find me at the Kroger, the Publix, looking for stuff. We got 6 kids, so I'm always buying groceries. I'm at the Costco too. I'll catch you. I'll talk to you. Bye. Hey, thanks for watching the video today. If you want more information on what's going on in the real estate market, take a look at some of these videos over here that we've posted, keeping up with what buying, selling, things that are going on in the North Georgia market. But if you want to keep up with everything that we post to our YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel down there, bottom right. That way you won't miss out on anything.